It's the Paris Chong
So let's talk a little bit about your
Show.
racing because that's kind of what you're famous for. But now you're going to be famous for painting because I'm going to help you get your paintings out
Thank
there.
you.
So lots of
Appreciate it.
paintings. And this is for sale if you want to buy this. This piece is for sale. It's called Ford. I think it's a 30 by 30,
Yeah,
uh,
36 by
30,
36, yeah.
36 by 36. So let us know. And do you have a website people can see your
Yeah,
paintings
yeah,
on?
it's
So
mine,
why don't you
just my
let
name, stefanjohansson.com.
okay, and that's
Yeah.
just for the painting
It's everything
or
really, but
everything?
primarily it's the art now
That's great.
that's taking center stage. But there's some history of, my racing past
Hmm.
and everything else.
Yeah. So, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the racing. So, I heard you were recently at the Indy 500, right? Do you go
Yeah.
every time there's a race, or?
Not every, so I'm still involved quite a lot in racing too. I
Yeah.
manage a few drivers here in America in IndyCar, and I'm still working with Ferrari,
Right.
McLaren, and so I'm still
All the
quite
crap,
involved in the
all the
business.
shitty
Yeah,
cars.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
All the ugly, cheap, shitty cars.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, what was your favorite car to race?
It's so difficult to point. Every race has its own character
Yeah.
and takes its own character, and you can never really, you cannot predict before. I mean, there are some tracks that are always great tracks.
Right.
Uh, like Spa-Francorchamps in Europe is an incredibly challenging track. Monaco
I
is
bet.
very difficult. Suzuka in Japan is some, but it can be the most boring little street circuit, but it's got certain characters, bumps and then weather conditions. Every race has
Yeah.
its own uniqueness,
What did you think about the track that they made in Vegas
It was
recently?
good. I
You
think
liked
they
it?
actually did a great job.
Yeah.
I think everybody was a bit skeptical,
Hmm.
but I think Liberty's done a phenomenal job in F1 in general.
Yeah.
And this event they've really raised the bar for every other promoter in the world. And they're like,
That's
you better
good.
step it up because this is how it should be. And it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
really a great experience. Yeah.
Did you get to drive the track?
No,
Do
I did
you
not.
ever
No.
get to do or are you allowed
I
to
mean,
do that
I
if you
mean,
want
I've
to?
driven most of the
Yeah,
tracks,
yeah.
except the very latest ones,
Mhm.
but I stopped driving 8 years ago now. And, I kept going way longer than most of my compatriots,
Yeah.
from my period. Strict, simply because I loved it. I still loved racing, but I kind of got that to that point, where I
You were
felt like
ready. Yeah.
I wasn't good at it anymore. So,
Oh. Did you ever were you ever really terrified for your life while you were driving? Like, did you think
no,
never?
never. I mean, you have a kind of an inbuilt level of fear, and if you don't, then you're going to get hurt. So
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe not necessarily get hurt, but you're going to tear up a lot of equipment. So
Yeah.
you're not going to last very long. There have been, especially in the early days when I was racing, there was quite a few drivers that was quite fearless, but
Uh-huh.
they crash too much. The teams end up with, A, you don't finish the race, and B,
Mhm.
it's costing a fortune for the team and repairs and stuff,
Right.
so they don't last very long, So it's that the skill is really the ability to always balance on the edge of the razor blade, where, you're on the limit the whole time, but you're not below the limit
Yeah.
and you're not above the limit.
It just seems
And
like a
that's where the
scary
really good
thing.
ones
Yeah.
can hang, like drivers like Ayrton Senna, who, is obviously a legend. Uh, he had that ability, to always, he never ever crashed on his own, really, but he was always right on that edge. And that space is like amazing.
So there
To
wasn't a
be
time.
on that as a
Yeah.
driver, the state of mind you're in when you're in that space is just amazing.
So when you prepare for a race, because I know how football players are. They don't want it. Like I think they just like ditch their wives and family for a couple of months and don't answer the phone and
Yeah.
do all these rituals. And is there something you did to prepare yourself to race?
Yeah. I mean, you absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's when you're in the middle of it, when you're in your career, like I was for 10 years in F1. I mean, you literally eat, breathe, and sleep being be the best you can,
Yeah. So like a
training.
meditation or
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, everybody have their own way of getting in that zone or that space you want to be. But I always used to just sit down, like by my car, literally on the grid before you get in the car and just kind of breathe,
yeah,
get into that almost like a trance state before you
yeah,
get in. So you don't think about it. It's like meditation, really. You
yeah.
try to think about nothing, you just, mind is completely clear
It
when you
just
get
seems
in the car.
scary.
Yeah.
It's such a scary
Yeah.
sport to me.
It's, Much better now than it was, of course. I mean, now you got to be extremely unlucky to even get hurt in a
Right.
Formula One car in
Yeah.
particular. Lower categories are still a bit marginal, but F1 is so the emphasis has been on safety for so long now, you know. But back in
Mhm.
the early, I came into F1 right at the tail end of the most dangerous part, so it
Right.
wasn't too bad, you know. But I've lost 5, 6 very close friends,
That's sad.
and in fact, weirdly, that's kind of what got me painting. You know, bizarre circumstances. You know, I
Yeah.
became really close friends with this Italian driver, Elio De Angelis, in a short period of time again. We somehow managed to find each other on the racetrack every single race and kind of duking it out, you know, like fighting like crazy, you know, and then we get out of the car and give each other a hug, you know, and
Mhm.
it's an incredible sort of bonding experience in a way, you
Yeah.
know.
So you met a
And
lot of friends. You have a lot of friends
yeah,
that race.
yeah. So we became really close friends. Then he got killed in a testing accident, and I was there, you know, trying to get him, help him out. He was on fire. He was trying to help him out of the car, and we couldn't do anything. So, and it was incredibly traumatic, you know. And for whatever reason, I went and bought some canvas and some paint and wanted to do something in his memory. And otherwise, I don't think I probably ever would have thought about painting.
Really?
And
So
it
do you
kind of
have
hit me like a bolt of lightning, you know, like, wow, this is something I really
so
love
we owe
doing.
it to Elio. Do you have a painting named after him?
I did a painting, but it's hidden in my mom's basement, and I hope no one will ever see it.
Maybe you could
It
do a
was
a
it
blue
wasn't a great one.
version,
Maybe
no?
one day.
Yeah. Well, I think art is and photography is so therapeutic in
Yeah,
so many ways.
100%, absolutely.
Do you listen to music when you paint?
No,
No.
complete silence.
Oh
I like
wow.
just like a zen state almost, you
Hmm.
know. Yeah, that's how just it's just me and what I do, you know.
That's
That
cool. Most
yeah.
people like to listen to music.
Yeah.
Now if when painting something like this, how many hours will it take you?
But these aren't doesn't take that long, but
Yeah.
it's still, you know, 2, 3 days with
Yeah,
on and
going
off, you
back
know,
and
because
forth
you
and
got to
looking
let
at
the
it.
paint dry and then try again, you know, and you kind of I keep working on them until they feel right, you know,
Yeah.
all these, especially the abstracts, you
Yeah.
know.
No, I love it. I
Yeah.
love the gold in it.
It's
So
the Paris Chong Show.